Alright, let's go over this. We're asked to graph y equals cotangent of x. Cotangent might seem a little bit intimidating because we haven't done a cotangent. It's just like tangent. You're going to find your a value, your b value, which is in front of your x. And remember, cotangent, just like tangent, has a period of pi. So the equation is period equals pi over b. Your b value is 1. So you have a length of pi. Now if you put everything to the right of the trig function between the inequality 0 and pi, this will tell you where to start and where to end. I draw a line, I put 5 equally spaced points, and I'm going to leave space to the left and the right if I'm going to expand it. My graph starts at 0, ends at pi, and now I just need to find the rest of these intervals. So class, what is half of this? Pi over 2. So again, if you didn't know that, 2 pi over 2, 0 pi over 2, right? And you can just double those. Class, what's the midpoint of this one? Pi over 4. And this one will be what? 3 pi over 4. I like to go back and circle the ones that I need that are reduced. That's just really pi, isn't it? Raise your hand if you got those. So let's write those down. So I have essentially 0, pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, and pi. The next thing I need to do is find cotangent at these values. I think it's helpful to draw yourself a circle, a unit circle. And remember, cotangent is which two letters, class? It's an x over y. So when I think about cotangent at this value, class, what's the order pair? Remember, label it, and you can see 1 divided by 0 is what? Undefined. Raise your hand if you got that. Pi over 4, radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. So this is the x, this is the y, so this whole expression over this whole expression, the same expression over itself is equal to 1. Think about it, 3 divided by 3, 1. Negative 3 divided by negative 3, 1. Pi over 2, class, what's the order pair? X, y. X divided by y, or 0 divided by 1 is 0. And if you're lost on that, use your calculator. 3 pi over 4. Same order pair, negative radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. This is my x, this is my y. This whole expression over itself, so they're identical except for this one is negative, therefore you have negative 1. And then at pi, my order pair is, which is undefined. Let's go ahead and graph it. I like to graph the undefineds first. I graph pi over 4 at 1, so it doesn't matter where you put this. Just label it 1, 3 boxes for negative 1, and here at 1, 0, and negative 1. And hopefully you also saw it just like tangent. Cotangent has those 3 dots in a line. And I go back. Backwards looking snake. Raise your hand if your graph looks like that. Let me show you something with the graphing calculator. Now, here in this problem, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to graph tangent of x, and then I'm going to graph cotangent of x. Class, where's the cotangent button? There is no cotangent button, so I'm going to do 1 divided by tangent of x. Put an extra parentheses. When you're graphing trig functions with your graphing calculator, you can always turn something off. So for example, I just want to see tangent. You just press enter, writer, and then I'm going to press zoom, and then I'm going to press trig, which is number 7. Okay, so here's tangent, and let's just say I want to graph cotangent. You can turn that on as well. It's going to be kind of crazy. Class, which trig function is red? Cotangent. How about blue? Now, what I wanted to show you is this. If you go to the table, so I'm going to press second graph. Double check that you're on radian mode. And this is what I wanted to show. I'm going to change, so I'm going to go second window. And I'm going to start my graph at pi over 2. And I want it to move every pi over 2s. Actually, ours is pi over 4. Let's do that. You guys see that? Let's change it. So pi is the caret button, so second caret button, and then divided by 4. And do the same thing over here. And I'm going to press auto for both. So when I press graph, or second table, sorry. Class, what's 3.416? It's pi. Now, 1e to the negative 13 is essentially 1, and then scientific notation means moving the decimal point 13 places. So it's like 0.00013, which means it's essentially 0. Class, what's half of 3.14? Which is pi over 2. Does that make sense? Pi over 2 is half of 3.14. Now, why did I want to show you this? It tells me that at cotangent at pi over 2, there's an error. Okay, let's look at our graph. But at pi over 2, the answer is 0. And the reason I'm pointing this out, I had a student point it out, so I went to look for it, the answer. And here's the reason why. The question is the calculator correct? Or are we correct? Of course, the answer is we're correct. And here's the reason why. At pi over 2, tangent y over x is undefined. Do you see this? So the calculator then takes your undefined answer and then takes the reciprocal of that, which automatically just makes it undefined or error. But we know that the answer is actually 0. So our answer is correct, and actually the calculator is incorrect because it can only think so far, but it is helpful. So here's a graph of cotangent of x, and you can use a graphing calculator to get a basic shape.